full tank of gas. Haters trying to stop me cause I'm moving too fast. I stay rolling on my grind with my money on my mind cause I'm riding, y'all. I'm riding fast, approaching red line. I'm ready to blow. Ballin' till I'm falling, I ain't trying to move slow. Play a holler at you later.
Yeah, Richie 10 Shadow Riders, listen. Yo, I'm on the top of the game. Hard body on top of these lanes. Switching gears in the Maserati. Driving insane as fly as can be. Giovanna rim size 23. Shit, I'm as high as can be. Ladies call me handsome. Way before I did the Shadow Riders anthem. Now I'm sitting in the Black Phantom. More than they can handle. I play the ball hard in the car, that's just coming out the front panel. What you know about that? But I ain't T.I.P., I'm R.I.C. K.Y. I show you how to stay fly in the daytime. With Shadow Riders on my side, hopping up the G-Ride, I stay live. The boy wonder's not a talk of the town. Toasted up, never boast, yeah, I'm holding it down. Gunning for now, these tough Burger King niggas coming through steady, keeping the crown. While I'm in the fruit punch jag, popping up, riding around. Believe me, dog, this is real as it sounds. Shit.
Shadow Riders Ignition.
You are now listening to the Shadow Riders Ignitions radio show. All about the JDM life.
Shadow Riders, baby.
Yeah, the Shadow Riders ethos. I will be so strong that nothing can disturb my peace of mind. I will never, never, never give up, and I will never, never, never accept defeat. I will think only of the best, work only for the best, and expect only the best. I will be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as I am about my own. I will give so much time to improving myself that I have no time to criticize others. I will be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the persistence of trouble. I will think well of myself and proclaim this fact to the world, not in loud words but in great deeds. I will always surround myself with people who are faithful, accountable, and teachable. I will bring discipline, momentum, focus, determination, will, and tenacity to every challenge. I will always have the courage to follow my dreams. I will always stay humble and down to earth. I will always be real, straight, and authentic with people. I will never forget where I came from and where my true power is. I will always respect myself and my crew with pride and style. I will be driven because I am part of Shadow Riders, and together we are unstoppable. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Shadow Riders Ignitions radio show. I am your host, Shadow, aka Shadow Riders Leader, aka Shadow Riders Alpha. We got a great show for y'all today. We're going to talk about the original creators of JDM culture, the Kanjozoku. The Kanjozoku. It's going to be a great show, man. These guys are serious business. But first, before we get into it, we got a couple of important announcements. So we'll be right back after these messages. SCW Performance, Dallas-Fort Worth's best race shop. Located on 1620 Interstate 35 Frontage Road, Carrollton, Texas 75006. Open Monday through Fridays 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. They offer performance installs, engine builds, repair estimates, and much more. For more information, call 405-201-7999. SCW Performance. Audio Depot, Arlington's premier spot for car audio installation. Located on 4312 Matlock Road, Arlington, Texas 76018. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. For more information, call 817-466-2441. Audio Depot. Tell them Shadow Riders sent you. Game Over Video Games, the ultimate retro video game store. Buy, sell, and trade the classics such as Atari, Intellivision, Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, Saturn, and more. Located at 4648 South Cooper Street, Suite 240, Arlington, Texas, 76017. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. For more information, call 817-468-4263. Game Over Video Games.
You are now listening to the Shadow Riders Ignitions radio show, all about the JDM life.
Shadow Riders, baby.
Yeah. We back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Shadow Riders Ignitions radio show. I am your host, Shadow Riders leader, aka Shadow Riders Alpha. We got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about the original creators of JDM culture, JDM car culture, the Kanjozoku. The original JDM culture guys, all the way over there from Japan. Now these guys are serious. I was looking around the interwebs for some information on my next show, and I had to ask myself the question, where did JDM culture come from? Everybody knows it's Japanese domestic market. That's what it stands for, like anything that's Japanese that's coming off the car lines. But the actual culture, where did that come from? Who started that? What crew started that? Well, I found out for you guys. And we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about it. It's pretty interesting. Shout out to all my Shadow Riders worldwide, in Japan, the States, Korea, Europe, South America, Africa, everywhere. Shadow Riders are around the world. Shout outs to everybody that's supporting the movement. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Twitter.com/Shadow Riders. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. We also got a Google Plus page. And if you're listening to this show on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Support us so we can keep on making more of these. So getting into it, the Kanjozoku. These are an infamous group of street racers coming out of Osaka, which is a prefecture, a city in Japan. Now these guys are serious. I was checking out some of the video footage. I found this website. It's called the Kanjozoku.com. That's TheKanjozoku.com. You can check it out for yourself. Well, these guys don't play. They're doing, street racing, which is, illegal in Japan, illegal in the States, illegal probably, everywhere in the world. But these guys take this seriously. This is like a way of life for these guys. And I can remember when I started getting into JDM car culture, and it's just the whole culture. It's like a culture. I was in Japan. I was still living in Japan. And I was in Yokohama, Zama, Tokyo area. And we used to go to the Bay Bridge, which they call the Rainbow Bridge. It's a really popular spot out in the Yokohama Bay area. And in Japan, it's true that the police don't really hate on you as bad as the ones in the States do. Because I used to see guys who used to be, actually driving pretty fast down the road on our way to the Rainbow Bridge. And on the way there, you're doing like, kilometers, well past 100 kilometers, right? And you think you're doing something. But you would see these guys in these Skylines, and sometimes, Civics and Hondas just zoom past you, right? And they be doing like at least like 180 miles an hour, just boom, right past you. Going over the bridge, and they have these like huge underpasses where you're actually driving underwater in these underwater tunnels to your next location on the other side of the water for a long period of time. These guys just gun it down these tunnels. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. These guys are like serious. And they're going like so much more faster than we were going. I had a guy that he had an Impreza. He had a WRX Impreza that keep up pretty well, but even him, he would get blown by sometimes some of the serious street races out there. And this was in Tokyo. But the group of guys that I'm talking about are the Kanjozoku. That's what they call themselves. And they take it serious. It's like a life or death thing. And they have, different crews with different styles on the Kanjo. And the stomping grounds where they do all this street racing is a highway called the Kanjo that's located inside of Osaka, right? And it's a combination of different highways that form a perfect loop. Like if you look at it on a map, it looks like a perfect racing loop, but it's about 4.5 miles long. The loop is from one part of the circle, and if you follow it all the way around back to that same point, it's about 4.5 miles. And these guys race up and down this thing. And I watched the video footage. I mean, it's cops chasing them, and it's funny, like, because the Japanese police are like, they're not like trying to ram them and like pull them over like they do in the States, but they just like following them, and the police are like get in front of the racers and try to block them, right? And go slow, but they just go around them. It was crazy. And these guys are like really serious about it. I mean, I'm seeing terms like, the loop soldiers and all this style. Like this one guy on here that he said he's been doing this for 20 years. 20 years. He talks about it like it's a job. He's talking about it like it's a job, like it's something that he clocks in at. And he was talking about how he sees like, how, the rest of the world has caught on to JDM culture, and he's talking about they started it right there in Osaka at the Kanjo. And surprisingly, all of them in this video drive Honda Civics. And they're like, this is the perfect car for this kind of lifestyle, for this kind of racing. It's a Honda Civic. They praise the VTEC engine and how quick and nimble the Honda Civic is. And they're like, this is the only car that we want to race. And we created this culture off of a Honda Civic. And they all drive the hatches, man. They're like the EG, the EK, the hatch. And they formed it off of like circuit racing that was back in the like the old days. I forgot how long the guy said ago that the circuit racing they got it from or something. But it's like all the cars, it's kind of like NASCAR where all the cars are built the exact same way and they're racing, and it's all about your skill. But I mean, these guys are like, I mean, they take it real seriously, and it's like the guy's talking like he's protecting the heritage, like this culture. He was talking about how the rest of the world has kind of tainted it, right? Like what true JDM really is. It's about art. It's about having guts. It's about a way of life, and you know, it's real deep. It's real deep. And he was saying how like nowadays, even some of the Japanese kids that are into JDM culture have adopted he called it USDM, and he said, you know, basically, you know, they originated the culture, right? About, you know, the cars and the low profile and the racing and tuning the engines and racing what you got and being anonymous and doing it at night. The whole culture, how crews race. I mean, to like the last man standing. He said sometimes they break out in like fist fights over who won and who lost. But he was saying that it was so passionate about the culture, and how he was actually really passionate about saying, no, we know that, you know, the people over in the States took it and adapted it to their own, took JDM culture, I'm saying, and adapted it to their own culture and switched it around and changed it a bit. But he's like, nah, they came back and kind of like infected the original JDM style that was in Japan even now in 2014. And he's like, no, he said, I'm gonna keep doing this to make until I make sure that the proper JDM culture is passed down to the next generation. He's that serious about it. These are street races. They're doing them at night. I mean, they could just go to a track, but nah, they treat the Kanjo, that highway, like it's their highway, like it's their turf. And they're risking their jobs, their way of life, getting arrested, just to preserve this culture. And that's the cool thing about the Japanese, about how they take something and they really make it their own. Like they take something as simple as racing a Honda Civic and max it out to the maximum that it could go, and they make a whole culture, a whole way of life, a whole system, like a checks and balance system, like a code of ethics and everything, just off of racing Civics, different styles, everything. And it was cool to see him on the video. The guy had a scully on. He had his face covered up, and that's what they're doing. Like they cover their whole face up with these little. They look like ninjas for real, because they know, you know, they're taking a risk, but it's just so addictive to them. and they've said, you know, some of the guys are like, I don't even know if I'm gonna come back home alive, but I just can't stop doing it. And it's like it's a real passion. And like when I was over in Japan, I felt that's what got me into it. I felt that passion. Almost every day when I wasn't out, you know, somewhere else, when I was, you know, home, you know, working every day on the mainland, I will go, after I got done with my army job, I go to auto craft shop, and they had garages you could rent out base space. And I had a Honda Civic, I had a 4-door Honda Civic Aerial. It was green. I used to work on it every evening before I went home and had dinner and stuff. It crashed, and that was so invigorating, right? Because at first when I bought it, it was like $500. I bought it from another guy that was also in the military, and I mean, it had ran in the ground, but I took it and made something from it. And like when the guys at the shop we were on an American military base, but the guys at the auto shop that were working there were Japanese, right? Some guys are Japanese, and they used to. I'll never forget this. They used to watch. They watched what I was gonna do, right? Kind of like an initiation. They were watching me the whole time, and at the auto craft shop, you know, you rent space and you have to fix your car yourself. I mean, of course they can help you fix it, but anything you want to do, you have to do it yourself, pretty much. And if you get stuck, they're always there to help you. And you know, it's kind of like tapping out. Like if you give up, you know, they look at you as a little punk, you know, because you gave up and you didn't like go all the way, you didn't see it all the way through the course. And so they were checking me on that, and I was like, okay, these dudes are kind of like watching what I do. And I'll never forget the first night after working on my car for months, right? I, you know, fixed up the suspension myself. I redid the braking system myself. I fixed up the engine myself, some of the body work, and I did a lot of work myself. Changed up some of the lighting, and it was, you know, it was already lowered. Suspension was sporty. Redid, you know, some of the aerodynamics on the back, some of the paint, everything. I really worked on it myself, and they saw that. And so one day, I forgot the guy's name, but he was like one of the main dudes that was working in the shop. And he said, "Yo, you know, you want to come out to the Rainbow Bridge on Thursday?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, well, it's gonna be over here, so just meet us out there." And I was like, "Yo, did I just get invited into a new world?" And yeah, and I did, because I went out there. I mean, it's just like you see in the movie Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, when that cowboy kid is out there with Neela, and they're sitting out next to all the vending machines at night. That's the spot. That's where everybody goes, man. It's so dope. So dope. And that just got me hooked. And then I started learning more about JDM car culture, and I was hooked from there. And just mixing like music and the whole fashion about it, the whole lifestyle about it. It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. And ever since then, I just couldn't let go of it. So I kind of see where the guys are coming from Osaka. Those guys, man, I understand where that passion comes from. I really do. But yeah, that's all I got. That's all we got for today's show. Make sure you stay tuned for the next edition of the Shadow Riders Ignitions Radio Show. Make sure you check out everything we doing at shadowriders.com. Get you a sticker, get you a t-shirt. Go check out our mascot Phantom and everything we're doing. And next time, till next time, I'm Shadow Riders Alpha, Shadow Riders Leader, signing out.